Hello, creatives. Welcome to my channel. My name is Beth, and I'm here at the gallery to do a Cardology tarot reading for Scorpio season and the 3 Decans. I'll offer a bit of astrology guidance as to how we might all navigate what we receive from Source and how to use the cards in this spread for your birth chart. If you haven't gotten your own personal Cards of Truth Cardology birth chart yet, there's a link below to create a free one at Ernest Wellham's website. Let's start with a quick review about what we can all expect energy-wise over this month in the fixed water sign of Scorpio, ruled by Mars traditionally, and since about the 1930s, Pluto. Mars and Pluto are how you go about getting what you really want and having it blow up to give you what you really need. So Scorpio's home is the 8th house. Very interesting house. Let's take a look at that. It represents sex, taboo, death, resurrection, and other people's possessions. Vedic astrology adds longevity and sudden events. Kundalini relates it to your wealth. And how does that work? Through your inheritance or gains or losses of wealth through sickness and dying. What you find in your 8th house can give you insight into your wellness habits. What comes out of left field for health issues? It can tell you something about your death if you care to look. You'll need to have an incredibly deep understanding of your planetary placements within your chart for that, and it's not recommended. They say that you shouldn't, but it's there if you care to look. Here, you can find ways to transform and rise above your addictions. You can navigate your weak placements with counterbalancing your strengths. You just have to be curious and willing to shift that energy by way of embracing the challenge. Your guides will help you enormously and show you a way. Just do the work. This house is related to your psychic abilities and can give you insight as to how to channel your guides' messages. It's a working house. You need to accept the work and do your best. Depending on the effort you put in, the rewards can be a big game changer, as it can shift your inner locator and change your course of low vibe to high vibe. You just need to do the work in an honest self-evaluation and clean up your messes. Personally, I have Jupiter, Pluto, and Uranus in Leo in the 8th house. I'm lucky that all the planets are happy there. I'm supposed to live a long, creative, and happy life. We'll see. I certainly embrace the inner work to make that shift happen. My psychic abilities are clear and available. And on the note of doing the inner work, the Cardology chart can add a lot of insight. For instance, I'm a 7 of clubs, so I have the Jack of Spades as an overlying karma card. If you pull the thread and look at the jacks, you go to the Uranus position. You'll find the 2 of Spades, which the Jack of Spades encompass. This invites me to do exactly what this house and its placements offer. The more I figure out my personal remedies and cures, the more I bloom into a lighter being and less self-burdened. And it proves to better my outer environment. And as a karma card, it also proves to be the perfect catch-22 for a 7 of clubs. It's tricky navigating the victim's mindset. I think I've got a pretty good handle on it at this age, although I'm not tempting fate to prove me otherwise. I love how the Cardology chart adds another layer of clarity. Look to see what card you have as a karma overlying card. It's right there at the top of your chart, your birth card. Up in that upper right-hand corner, you'll find the overlying card. That's your karma card. And see how it might relate to Mars and Pluto or the 8th house. See what cards you have there. It'll give you a lot more insight. So Scorpio's element is water. This is emotional, psychic energy because of the 8th house connection. Depending on your placements, it'll show you how comfortable or secretive you are about what your real feelings are. You'll understand how to open or close you are in sharing your true self. It has the energy of a hypnotic and deeply seductive, fluid vibration. Scorpio's fixed, so it's more grounded and patient, which can be to a fault. There's a tendency to stifle and stuff your emotions down, which causes unrest and illness in the mind, body, and spirit. Fixed signs give gravity and resistance, causing and prolonging change. Quite a karmic catch-22, as here we are meant to learn to embrace change. So in the major arcana, Scorpio's is the death card. Now this represents how no one can escape transformation, not even through death, literally and figuratively. It's a way to purge and purify oneself. It levels the playing field. It's a scary card to look at. However, it's actually one of the most positive messages. That is, if you're cleaning up your messes, any transformation or change that this card predicts is for the better. You're ready to let go of the unhealthy attachments and crave wellness. This is where change happens, how you let go and move on to something else, willingly or otherwise. So now we can see how we show up in the world when it comes to how aware we are at our soul being. What makes us tick and open to change? Through deep introspection and understanding, probably, of what's good for us. And of course, how that affects how you show up and give of yourself in this lifetime. Okay, so what could be the catch-22 or the shadow side of a fixed, intense, emotional water sign that has to do with transformation as ruled by the 8th house? This is where Scorpio gets its bad rap. Depending on your chart, you'll find how led by insecurity based around the intensity of your emotion. It'll show up in how secretive, obsessive, vindictive, and determined you are, how much value you place on your psychic gifts, and how open you are to being guided or not. It's quite the catch-22. However, it's all about you discovering yourself at a soul level. So what's the best day of the week for Scorpios and Mars-Pluto energy? It's Tuesday. This is the day to make affirmations about courage and willingness. It's action with power. A day of well thought out, calculated risk-taking for progress and advancements. Think of the book, The Art of War. Okay, so let's get started with the tarot reading for Scorpio season and the three decans. I'm first going to ask, during this time of Scorpio season and the three decans, what about self needs to be brought to attention and clarified at this time? I'm using the archetype cards to see where we are being invited to take an inner look. Then my Cardology Spirit and Nature deck for direction to go deeper by pulling the thread. This will be within your own chart. Then more helpful clarification with the Lenormand cards. And lastly, we'll finish with a loving starseed card message of encouragement. So let's take a look at the first decan of Scorpio. It runs from October 23rd through November 1st. This decan is traditionally subruled by Mars, and I like to go with that, although you could go with Pluto as well if you so desire. So it has drive, strength, tenacity, patience, focus when it comes to what is loved and desired or not around people, places, and things. There's a really great willpower and an ability to rebound from failure and make a new start. Love that about this Scorpio. There's when setting a goal, it's seen through no matter what the challenge or how long it takes. They've got that stick-to-itness. Trust is a big one. It takes time to build. However, once it is built, you are as trustworthy as you expect others to be. The catch-22 with this first decan here is all about overly being obsessive, the behavior and the suffering and the grief because of it. There's a cold and calculating, brooding and secretive persona. It's unapproachable and unforgiving. It's very aggressive, or it can be very passive aggressive. It's interesting, isn't it? All right, so let's turn over the archetype card and see where you are being invited to take an inner look. Hero and heroine. The light attributes passion for a journey of personal empowerment. The shadow attribute, escapism, and a false sense of heroism. Very interesting. It so speaks to the work that Scorpio is here to do. Aren't we all? But seriously, the 8th house really shows up here for me. And to think about how we do show up and how we are open as a fixed sign to exploring and having that adventure through overcoming difficult obstacles. I know the archetype book talks about having that inner spiritual power. It's, how do you awaken that and ultimately get that vision that you can sink your teeth into, and that tenacity of not wanting to let that go. It is this, as we were saying earlier, this patience and focus to really bide your time. It is so like that book, The Art of War, where you calculate the risk and you see it through. I've seen it in action with Scorpios. It doesn't matter how long it takes. You can wait years for that opportunity to present itself. You don't forget. You're ready. You're ready for it. In the best of the higher vibration here, it is having a really good for the greater good focus, and stepping into that hero or heroine to step up for the lesser people. I have several Scorpio friends and family, and I know from seeing that exact thing, high vibe and low vibe. It is this battle to conquer your own fears and insecurities. It can show up in many unusual ways of mind, body, and spiritual disorder. And I won't necessarily say disease, but I could show up that way as well in the lower vibrations, of course, because you're not working in the lower vibrations for the betterment of all. It is more about working for your own self-betterment in a way that forsakes others. So you really want to, with this card, think about, for the moment, of what your history is of facing and overcoming the odds, right? Both materially and spiritually, because the 8th house really begs that of you. Being born into this lifetime as a Scorpio, you are here to do that figuring out about self, to get to that soul level where rebirth and transformation is a natural thing for you to do, which is an incredibly big ask of a fixed water sign that are so invested in their emotional stick-to-itness. Once you get that thought, once you get that idea, you run with it, and you're so determined that that's the only way to go with it. You know that's not true. You can remember times when you were proven different, right? And had to eat some crow maybe, forgive yourself for indiscretions, for harsh words that weren't completely and deeply thought through. I mean, we all have, let's be honest here. But this is your thing to do in this lifetime. Exactly this, to have a vision, consider the greater good, consider your motivations, what you want in your heart of hearts, and see how that might benefit everyone, right? There's a lightness to that is so beautiful when you can do it. Let's see what the Spirit and Nature card has to add. Well, we've got the 7 of Hearts. So here we are. Transformation through letting go, emotional loss, something that is not working for you any longer. So this does speak directly to exactly that Saturn, the Death card. It is your card. So this is like showing up. How you show up is a better way of putting this. How you show up with your emotional connections when they're challenged. Ooh, that's a big one for all of us, isn't it? Living a life you do of series of little emotionally little deaths. Could be big ones. Big or little emotional deaths. This is what we all do in this 8th house, or what we have in Scorpio. This is what we are here to work on, all of us. But with you being in this first decan, Scorpio, you are here to do this work more than anyone. It's in order to experience your transformations, right? It's that heart and head connection that you have to really work really hard to have it come through and present itself. There's a validation that really needs to happen. It's through your feelings, through the loss and suffering. I know it's not much fun. The Seven of Hearts is what that is. However, you can see there's butterflies involved here. It's okay. It's for betterment, right? As long as you can understand at your core that every time something gets triggered by some indiscretion, some rubbing you the wrong way, some certainty that you're right, and you find out you're not, that's the stuff that gets let go. You got to find the humor in it, which is not an easy thing for you to do, although I'm pretty sure you're a big love of dark humor. I know I am. I'm heavy Saturn, so, you can't help it. And just understand that it is a part of what your evolution is all about. So if you take this Seven of Hearts and you look at it through this hero or heroism and how to go about shedding what's not working, how to go about embracing letting go of what's not working. It's you understanding that just emptied, that left you open and clean and full of space to invite something better in. It's really, really beautiful when you think about it that way. It's like that death card in the tarot. It is all about the death of what isn't working for you. It's necessary transformation. It's endings, yes, but it's new beginnings. And you, of all of the other decans, you embrace that. You're easy into it. Easy to be able to let it go and move on to something else, a new start. It is seeing how every time a door closes, it's that game changer of having another door available to be opened. It is you as rebirthing. It's what it is. It is the death card in the Seven of Hearts. The red sevens represent the death card. And that's exactly what that is. It is a rebirth so that you can mature. You can embrace that more, what do I want to say, like a more authentic and real, grounded, true, you being true to your soul, your mind, body, and spirit connection, taking in all of the account of everything. It's really quite lovely. In the shadow attributes of the struggles with doing this, it's that fixed resisting change, being stuck, just looping in those damaging cycles, having those limiting beliefs about yourself that hold you back, and telling yourself that you're this or that when you're really not. It is in those moments that you are being invited to look at your K2 and see what you might be needing to let go of, and how your Pluto position relates to how your catch-22 works for you in your chart. So do look at that above karma card and see what's overlying your birth card. And you can see every card has an overlying and an underlying card. The underlying card is what you bring with you for karma from a past life. You're connected in the chart somehow, or in your life with your people, places and things with that underlying. You've brought that with you. It is a motivator. It is there to support you. And the upper is your challenge of what you're doing in this lifetime, how to overcome it. Why is that your challenge? It's very revealing. All right, let's move on to the Lenormand cards. And you got the crossroads. All right, so the crossroads are all about making choices. You know that you got to choose wisely. That's where that calculated risk comes in, where you are able to really understand, thought it through, you're patient, you've probably kept a list of everything that has happened up until this point, and now is the time to really think about you being at these crossroads of how you're doing your letting go, how much of a struggle that is, what that triggers within you, how you can pull the thread through your chart. If you have a 7 of Hearts in your chart, go and see what else you have there. What's in that placement? 7s are related to Saturn, so go and look at Saturn placement. That's a gateway card. 7s are gateway cards. Think about how you let go and what triggers happen for you in that process. That's where you are being invited to take a look, especially with this crossroads, because it is about making choices. So what gets triggered, right? When you're thinking about it, it is a time to accept that you are being asked to reevaluate the people, places, and things yourself and question what comes up. It's in those triggered desires and impulses and blocks that stick to itness of being that fixed water emotional sign and breaking through that emotional bond or binding that you can open ever so little to take a look at what's happening for you and just accept that that's a mirror of how you need to be healed. It's your karma, your Ketu, your Rahu, Pluto, and how you go about it, your card, your sun, your Mars, and of course your life path and Rahu. It is all right there for you to pull the string through your chart, card by card, by placement, and see what your story is. It will show you so much. And then you can ask your guides, your daimon, to help you. You can ask with the best of intentions and the greatest gratitude to help you co-create for your own clarity and balance, how to proceed. Because it's ready, it's timely, always, always, always. It's really, I love that you get Crossroads card here. This is you taking the time you need to make the decisions you need to make. It doesn't need to hurry. There's nothing that is forcing you to do this, although the Death card has that connotation. The 8th house has it. Scorpio has it. Mars, Pluto has it. It is change through crisis, and that can come out of left field. But you more than anyone knows how to just let that go move on, rebound, and make a new start. That too is exactly there. So ask yourself those questions. That is the way that you'll get from a lower vibe to a higher vibe. You'll grow, you'll mature, you'll have that more authenticity for you. It'll be beautiful. Your guides will love it. They will help you enormously. Just do the work. All right, let's see what you get for the starseed. Transcendence. Transcend your mind's limitations and allow your soul's light to truly shine. That is so beautiful. That feels like it wants to go right there on the 7 because that is exactly what the 7s are here to do. Just beautiful. All right, that is really such a deep and personal and just really supportive message for you. All right, well, I hope it resonates. It's not an easy challenge, but in the end, you'll be happier for it, right? All right, thank you. So the second decan runs from November 2nd to November 11th. This decan is subruled by Neptune and gives this decan a very creative, intelligent mind. The deeply emotionally led artist. This decan is the most open to exploration and experimentation and moving forward with a greater purpose, bigger picture kind of thing, more willing to make room for compromising or walking away. So the catch-22 here is that there is a tendency for delusions and daydreaming. That's that Neptune influence. Emotionally being selfish and lacking boundaries. That has to do with the Mars part. And addictions. And just kind of simply being oblivious to what's happening around you. I know, but that's the shadow attribute. So let's get started and see where you are being invited to take a look with the archetype card. Advocate. All right, so that's a good one for Scorpio. The light attributes inspiring you to put compassion into action. The shadow attribute embracing negative causes or committing to a cause for personal gain. Interesting. So is it about you or is it about who you serve? Being an advocate is really about serving others. That's that defender, if you will, the one that steps in to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. It in the book I know, the archetype book, it talks about having a devotion to championing for the rights of other people. It's this passion for transformation of the social injustices. It's so perfect for a Scorpio. So how are you going to do that creatively? Keep your head out of the clouds. Find your empowerment and find your groups to speak for. Do you need to? Is it something that you've done? Is it something that you find yourself being drawn to do? Which was very interesting, isn't it? Do you battle with wanting to be an advocate for the greater good, or do you find that you struggle with having a voice to speak for yourself? It's hard to be out there. It's really allowing you to show up 100% you. Especially for the shadowy attributes, that hiddenness that Scorpios have. You hunker down and just kind of stew about what goes on, not sharing, just this really quiet determination where you take that time and really fixate on proving yourself right about something. Now, that can be a good thing. That can be a direction on how to show up for other people and yourself by that truth meter, looking really deeply into what is real about soul or ego led, or it can be digging in and sticking and being stuck as a fixed sign, emotionally entrapments into how you convince yourself that you're doing the right thing, when in fact, you're just patiently waiting for your opportunity to undermine or manipulate or get what you want through some controversial means. It isn't pretty, and we all have that tendency. We're all triggered and invited to do such things. However, for a Scorpio, that is exactly what you are here to pry and pull and unstuck yourself from. It's a big ask to step out of self and to step into helping other people. And can you do that for you? Can you show up and be a true advocate for what you want in this lifetime for you, so that you can start with you in order to do for other people? You can't get there otherwise. You have to transform yourself before you're able. It won't mean as much if you try to do it, if you're only halfway being honest with yourself. So it is a true balance that Scorpios are here to ask themselves. They are really in this lifetime being given exactly those choices: how to show up, how to be here, how to do the inner work when you are emotionally invested in being right, or whatever shadow attributes you struggle with, whatever it is that triggers you, how you show up for you, the desires, the impulse, the blocks, how you realize when something is ready to be healed, to move on from. What kind of chore is that? Or is it a blessing and you embrace the change? Why not, right? You, more than any, are open to that exploration and experimenting, moving forward for your own greater purpose, okay, and for others. You have to do it for yourself in order to do it for others. So there has to be some kind of dedication to inspiring or finding inspiration, and then inspiring and empowering yourself, and so you can empower others through your art, through your creativity. No matter what you do, there's creativity in life. We're all here to figure out a better, more interesting way to do just that. Why not embrace the change? And Scorpio, emotional and deep and passionate, and oh my goodness, I can only imagine, if you're an artist, how impassioned you are to show up and share what you do, bringing this amazing message to empower and inspire everyone else. However, let's take a look at the Spirit and Nature card and see where else you're being asked to take a look. Well, that's interesting. 4 of Spades. This is the timeout card, whether you want it or not. Interesting. And the timeout is meant for that self-reflection, to really check in with the chakras, check in with the energy level, check in with the patience or impatience, and see where you might need to take a deeper look. Start to pull that thread. And if you have the 4 of Spades in your chart, definitely go and see what's there and how that shows up for you. And if not, go to that 4 position in your chart, which is Mercury. It is related to the Hierophant, this black suits 4, and it is a fire energy in the cards of truth, in that cardology. So in general, it's connecting with something that's for your mental and physical health, your remedy or cure. This is the time out that you are meant to invest in who you are, your wellness. So it is about really thinking about how to build your health. It can be where you take your solace. Do you have a room? Do you have a study? Do you have a favorite chair? Do you like the kitchen? Is it cooking for you? Is it studio space? Do you have a meditation corner or a room? You know, it could be at the gym. It could be out in the great world, taking your walk with forest bathing. You know, it's wherever you find your peace within. You can be very resourceful with this card. It is about finding what you need simply, being where you can be in that self-contemplation. It's a slow and steady determination. It's really an interesting card. It can also, in the lower vibration, you might find that you are bumping up into these blocks, like psychologically feeling guilty about going within, taking that time out. And it's funny, isn't it? Because that is actually holding yourself back, isn't it? So it can be this single-minded stubbornness for a Scorpio to stay stuck in that, thinking that you're taking, but you're not. You're actually giving yourself this time that is meant for you so that you can grow, so that you can better who you are at your core. It's all around taking that time and putting it to the best use possible. Spiritually, it is an exploration of you, yourself as a temple, your body as your temple. Or it can be you in a place where you're able to take that time to make those connections. It is learning to understand your challenges and your talents in order to overcome the challenges. Nice one. All right, let's see what you get for the Lenormand cards. The house. Talk about that sacred space and you as a temple. That is exactly what this card represents. A stately home, a stately temple, you, a stately you. That's it. It bestows stability. upon your fate. In love and play, your chance to win depends on how you first begin. Time out, baby. That is for you to begin the begin. It might not be what you want, but it is essential. Just resign yourself to it. Understand that it is there. You are being given a gift from Source to do exactly that. Pull the thread on whatever comes up. Keep a list. Check in with how it's making you feel, and understand that whatever comes up is a timely letting go. It is meant to be let go. Check your K2 and Pluto. See how that works for you. That K2 is where you're in this lifetime are here to revisit pieces of it and then let it go. It's timely. That's what's meant to happen. That's what it's there for. So it's what you are being invited to look at, some notion or idea about yourself that's false. And once it's been brought up, once it's been looked at, it changes that DNA of the energy of it. It's beautiful the way it happens. You let it go. You can ask for help, but it always stems from what comes up as a desire or an impulse or your block. What are you telling yourself? Why you cannot do something, or why you shouldn't, or why it's not a good idea, why you're fearful of it. Dig deeper. Take it down to the next level. Really get honest with yourself. That's what this time is meant for. It's so you can show up at a higher vibration to do that, advocating for yourself and other people. It's brilliant the way it works. All right, let's see what you get for the starseed. Signs. The universe has been gently nudging you forward by revealing to you signs and synchronicities. That is so amazing. I so love it. That is such a beautiful, beautiful way to tell you that whenever you find yourself in an unwanted, uninvited timeout, it's a sign. It's a sign for you to take a moment to take care of you. It's beautiful. All right. Well, there you go. I hope this resonates and gives you something to think about and raises your vibration. It's all good. All right. Thank you. The third decan runs from November 12th to November 21st. It is sub-ruled by the moon, giving it a protective, caring, nurturing nature. There's a willingness here to self-sacrifice for the greater good. Highly intuitive, so in tune with the emotional vibration around other people, places, things. You can read a room and you come across in that moon warmth and charismatic charm. The catch-22 with this one is being stuck in the fixed nature emotionally, being unforgiving, resistant to change. There can be a subversive, delusional method here to getting what you want, although it can come across as being quite rebellious in a passive-aggressive or aggressive way as well. That moon energy being driven by the emotions. There's an impatience in that same moon Mars, an impulsiveness, and all around it, moody. Fun. All right, let's see where you are being invited to take a closer look with the archetype cards. Mediator. Light attributes, gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life, respect for both sides of an argument. The shadow attribute, negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, this really wants to speak to that Moon-Mars connection for me, that hidden agenda, but really, really wanting to do well for everyone. It's the relation part that really speaks from this third decan point of view, because you are all about that nurturing nature, willing to self-sacrifice for the greater good. You have no problem with that. And you intuitively can really sense what needs to happen. However, that Mars attribute can come through as wanting to push it, or being stuck in how you're pushing it. Do you even need to push it? Are you able to use that patience and your skill to dig in and get to the bottom of that emotional vibration that you are so good at sensing? Do you do that in a quick flash, or is it something that takes a minute? So, and in that minute, do you move into a self-led way of thinking? It can be quite the trigger for exactly that, when you're stepping in, seeing where you need to be the go-between. Right? This is what the archetype book talks about with this card. How you can step in and be that go-between, that diplomat between two situations. So the negotiator, right? Or how your shadow side might manifest in that ulterior motive or a hidden agenda. Do you want that recognition for being the one that can pull both sides together? Is this for personal gain that you find yourself arguing and winning at all costs in order to be exactly that? So this card really begs you to ask yourself what kind of commitment to resolving disputes and what that is for you with bringing people together. What is the need behind it? Why is it so disruptive when people are at odds? Why does that trigger you to wanting to step in and be that ambassador, that mediator? So with having the gifts that you do, that nature, nurture, can come through fine most of the time, but when it bumps up against any energy that is aggressive, how do you handle that, right? How do you step up and be heard? And are you taking care of yourself when you're doing that? Because that emotional taxing that it is for that moon subled, it's very It's very intuitive, and it takes a lot of energy to deal with being so sensitive to that vibration. How do you handle that? What gets triggered? What's your impulses? What's your desire? How do you dig your heels in and tell yourself that you're done? You don't need to do it anymore. Bah humbug. They're on their own. I'm not doing it. They're not appreciating it. They're blah, blah, blah. Keeping you from moving forward. That actually holds you back. So, okay, you're to look at all of that. Yes, of course, and pull the thread on it, because those are false limiting beliefs. That's not you. You are the one that needs to find the way how you can separate that emotion of self and the greater cause for being that beacon, that light to shine on being that mediator. All right, let's take a look at the Spirit and Nature card. Wow, okay, Ace of Spades. This is pretty big. This is you having those epiphanies, that deeper truth of self. Wow. It takes time with this card. It is like that gestation period of the butterfly, that chrysalis that needs to be in that cocoon in order to have this happen for you. Especially where you are so emotionally in vibe with everything that goes around you. Every little thing leaves an impression. It's an awful lot to sort through. I'm Cancer. I'm moon-led, first decan, moon. I understand what this is like. It's not an easy place to take the time out to sort through. It's very confusing. It's very what's real, what's not real. You have to really think about it. You got to wrap your brain around what it means and how you're going to take care of yourself and everybody else around it. It takes a while. It's a really good idea to jot these things down as they come up so that you can take the time needed for each and every one. Think of them as your children and how you're going to take care of yourself so you can take care of everyone else. It's not an easy place to be coming from. So what you want to do with this Ace of Spades is to check your chart, see if you have it there, either as a card placement, or it could be an underlying or overlying karma card for you, and see where this Ace of Spades might show up. At the very least, you can go and check your sun position. What card do you have in the sun position? What's that card telling you? What else is there? It would be Leo. So what do you have in Leo? Right? And then you can go and see where that takes you. Look to your K2 and your life path with this card, because this is all about self, being self-led, being on your path to exploring you, unraveling you, and getting more grounded, more quick at sorting through that emotions. It's you and your well-rounded well-being. It's introspection because it's spades, it's remedies and cures for self. And with this card, it is through that that rebirth, that becoming the butterfly. It's a revelation that is rooted in you and your self-worth. Interesting, isn't it? It's a alchemy through introspection, meditation, self-improvement, seeing where you need to go, and it's done through your intuition. Isn't that great? It's this stage of hibernation for you to really understand a deeper truth about yourself. You discover that, and then you have some string to pull to figure out what your limiting beliefs are about that situation, that person, that place, how you fit into that, how you hold yourself back with whatever impulse or desire or block that undermines who you are. Whatever is challenging you to dig deeper. It's this need to let go of, interestingly, any desired outcome, which is exactly what this mediator card is cautioning you about as well. Who's it for? Who's it for? And how does it ring true? How is that meant for you? How are you taking care of you to take care of other people? You need to really give yourself this cocoon time, if you can, in any which way. And the more practice you give it, the quicker it's going to come around for you. Oh, wow. That is really interesting. Okay, because the more you can do it, the more you can get into that intuitive sensing for your own good, brings you closer to source. Just remember that you can ask for help. Just do it with the best of intention and how to, with the greatest gratitude, how to co-create. Ask for help. Bring it. You'll do the best you can with it. Okay? All right, let's look at the Lenormand card. The garden. The garden treats to a party you'll go. New friends will arrive and romance may flow. Life's to be enjoyed with nature all around. In this verdant setting, beauty and peace abound. Wow, go find yourself that quiet space to do exactly this kind of work. You have people that love you, that support you, that want to see you do well, and you can talk to them. You know who to trust. All right, let's see what you get for the starseed card. Earth Guide. Your sacred calling upon this planet is to simply love and be loved. What a beautiful place for you to begin of this inner searching for the motivation behind what this is for you. You know, the shadow attributes of the Ace of Spades. We should talk about that because this might be something that lower vibration that you get triggered by when you're in these situations of how to show up as that go-between, no matter what, even if it's a battle between you, yourself, and I, you know. So when that happens, you can find yourself being invited into those addictions that alter reality, right? So you want to make sure that in your self-care that you are really not giving into those. Ride the wave. Go from a closed state to an open state. It is when that happens, when you get triggered, you're going to feel really stressed out. So, whatever relieves the stress in a healthy way is where you want to go with that. You are golden. All right. Well, there you have it. I hope it resonates. Hope you found it helpful, and thank you.